What's up guys, Kyle here again, and today we're gonna do a quick run through of the Neural Quad Cortex. Let's do it. Okay guys, no intro track today. I am actually going to start this completely from scratch, as if you just unboxed your Quad Cortex and you have never actually plugged into it, never set it up before. This is basically what you'll get. You'll get a blank screen with a signal chain up on the first input. You have multiple inputs up here. You have multiple output routing options. I'm not gonna go through all the features because if you guys are watching this, you probably already know what the deal is with this thing. So basically what I'm gonna do is see how quickly I can dial in a decent tone and show you guys how easy it is to dial in a decent tone on here, because you know what? It's actually really easy to do that. So we're gonna not only do that directly into my interface as like a direct recording type situation, but I'm also gonna run it through the effects loop of my Soldano SO100 through my Mesa 412 oversized cabs and show you guys just how the amp sim sounds when they're going through an actual tube power amp. And spoiler alert, it's surprisingly pretty good. All right, so I'm gonna treat this as a total noob because guess what? I am a total noob. I've never owned any sort of modelers before or really spent any time with them. I've always been a tube amp guy. I'm not opposed to the digital stuff whatsoever. I just have not spent any time with the Axe FX, the Kemper, the Helix, any of the popular amp modeling platforms. This is really my first deep dive into any platform. So we're gonna go up here. There's a little plus symbol. Boom, you click that and it gives you all sorts of options for you to add whatever you want into your signal chain. All the way at the bottom here, there's utility. I'm going to put on a gate just to save us any noise. And I'm gonna essentially run this like I would run my actual signal chain. So gate, we're gonna go back up here. We're gonna click on an overdrive. And it gives you guitar and bass options because there are bass models in here as well. It's not just guitar stuff. Boomer goes digital. Just kidding, I'm not a boomer, I just like boomer gear. All right, so we're gonna do a green 808 because that is the classic overdrive that you would dial in, okay? So, boom, let's get our amp going. We've got, oh, look at that, EVH 5153 blue channel. No brainer for me. And last, let's throw in a cab. So we're going through here. We've got a Mesa oversized A cab with V30s. Mesa oversized slant cab with V30s from the 90s, which is what this cab is right here. We've got our whole signal chain dialed in at this point. I'm gonna hit a chord and you guys can hear how that sounds right off the bat. It sounds pretty good. A lot of gain, but we're already pretty close. So I'm gonna go in to the pedals because the pedals put everything at noon, and obviously I don't want my overdrive at 5 on a tube screamer. We want that drive all the way down. We want the level all the way up. Nope, I'm not trying to do that. Level all the way up. Level all the way up. All right, level is all the way up. We're gonna leave the tone at noon. Okay, let's go into the amp. Now before I do anything with the amp, here's how much of a difference that made with the pedal. Sounds pretty good to me. Let's pull that gain back a little bit. Okay, let's get a little bit more mid. Let's get a little less treble. I'm gonna dial it pretty similar to how I would dial my amp if I was dialing this in person. We'll dial the lows up to about 1 o'clock, 6.5, sure, that sounds good. We'll dial the presence up just a tad. This is really easier to do straight on than it is in an angle, so don't take this as it being hard to control because these controls are actually pretty sensitive and operate as they should normally. That sounds pretty good to me. Let's add another gate after the amp and see. We'll make sure. I don't know what that is. All right, there we go. We will add another gate after the amp just to see if we can kind of quiet that noise down a little bit. Yep, you can just drag and drop. That's actually the first time I've tried that. So you can just drag it and drop it. Here's our gate. Okay, so that sounds great. Honestly, that took what? 2 minutes, and that's with me talking. It took next to no time at all to dial in a great tone. All right, so let's switch our cab. Let's see how much. Oh, yeah, you can come in here and change the actual cab position and the mics. All right, so if I wanted to add a little bit more top end bite, I would move the mic closer. This is kind of how I normally mic my cabs. Half on the dust cap and half on the cone. Gives it a little bit more bite to it. All right, that sounds great to me. You can change your mic over here. So let's say we want to do a 121. Seems to give a little bit more mid content and lows and be a little less dark. That sounds good. A dynamic 906. All right, so obviously it's got a few mic options for each one. We got a 57, a 421, a Sennheiser 421, and 184 condenser, and then we're back to the Ribbon 160. So that is the mic. I believe that those are the same two mics that come on every cab IR in its stock form. If we want to change that cab IR, we'll go in here and click on the actual IR title itself, go to change device, and then we can come over here and pick a different cab. Let's pick a Zilla Fat Boy. Boom. Okay, so now we've got a different cab. There's our miking options. We're gonna leave those as is. Well, that sounds completely different. I don't know that I like that. It sounds very like there's a blanket over top. Let's move this 57 closer to the center. And over here, I'm gonna switch back over to that. Oh, there's different options on this one. Okay, different options. Let's try the 420. There we go. Now it doesn't sound like it's behind a blanket. Not bad. All right, let's go in here. Let's take a different amp for a spin. We're gonna go with, there's Friedman, there's a 5150 PV. Hey, I have a Soldano right here. Let's do Soldano SLO 100 lead. Let's do that. What do we got? Yeah, it kind of sounds like a Soldano. It's a little bit muffled, but the cab again doesn't seem to have a lot of presence. So get some highs, get some presence going. Don't know that I love that one. Let's get a little bit more bass and a little bit less gain. Let's actually pull that treble back and do a little bit more mids. Definitely has a Soldano like sound to it, and the feel is a little bit spongy like a Soldano is. Okay, so that's pretty cool. I'm gonna change that cab. I'm not digging that cab. Kind of lifeless. We're gonna go back to that same Mesa because I was really digging that one. Here, well, here's a traditional V30. Let's see how that. Even that's better. So that's cool. Let's do a different amp. The Soldano one definitely doesn't have me as one over as the 5150 did. I think there's a 2203. Yes, there is. 2203. Let's do that. Gain's already on 10 for us. It's definitely kind of fat like a 2203 would be if you had the gain on 10. So let's back that off. Get up there. This is a little frustrating. Again, it's usually not like this when you're staring at it straight on. That's not too bad. Definitely doesn't seem to have the same like bite that a 2203 would have. Let's turn the master up and see if that affects the power section at all, and turn the output down a little bit. Feels quite a bit tighter than a 2203 would, but again, you're hearing the approximated recording of it, not like you're playing it in the room. Not bad. Not bad. It has that Marshall sound to it, but again, it seems a little bit muffled, whereas a regular 2203 is very bright. Will kind of cut your head off. Let's do one more amp, and then we will put it through the tube power section. Let's do a rectifier, because everybody knows what that sounds like. Channel 3 vintage, that's where I would put it. Okay, so immediately you got that big rectifier low end. Let's get some mids on that and some treble for sure. We'll have to dial that bass back if I can get this damn thing to cooperate with me. Okay, get in there. I gotta turn that presence up a little bit. There we go. That actually is pretty good sounding. Yeah, that definitely is very reminiscent of a 3-channel dual rectifier on the vintage setting. So that's pretty cool. That one's accurate. The 5150 blue channel is accurate. I wasn't sold on the Soldano or the 2203 ones. I definitely didn't get that vibe like I could nail down what amp it was just by listening to it, whereas the other two I can. Okay, and we're gonna change our output here. We're gonna remove our cab sim, and we're gonna change our output to 3 and 4. And now we're coming through my cabinet. That's all it takes. So that's how the 2203 sim sounds through the power amp of the Soldano SLO 100 into the Mesa cab. Honestly, it's not too bad, but I'm going to go to an amp that is more suited for a 6L6 power amp. Let's go back to that PV. All right, so now we've got the PV 65 or 5150. Wow, that actually sounds a lot like it should. That's pretty impressive. Dial that gain back. We're gonna come up on the bass, come up on the presence. That is pretty impressive, honestly. That sounds really good. We're gonna turn the mids up. There always seems to be this hollowness to digital sims, even when you put them through tube power amps. I can notice it here, but it's not like insane. This is much more amp-like than anything else I've tried so far. I also have the power amp controls on the Soldano so I can boost the presence a little. There we go. That actually kind of takes the fuzz off of the amp a little bit. Let's pull the treble back on the amp. So that sounds really good. Again, it's not quite like the real amp, but the voicing is definitely there. And I'm guessing with maybe some tweaking, I could get it really, really close, but it doesn't sound bad at all. I could definitely put this on a pedal board with like a Seymour Duncan 170 power stage power amp and probably get a really good usable tone for like a portable live rig or something and have any amp that I want. Capture all of my own personal amps and just choose whatever amp I want at that moment. I'm going to do that very soon, so that sounds really promising and I hope it works out, but even these built-in amp models are pretty good. They're not 100% there, but they're definitely good. Let's go back to that Soldano and see how that sounds through the Soldano power section. That's not bad. Turn the gain back a little bit, bass up. There is no depth on this, so it's based off an older one. That's a little disappointing. And mids up, presence up. All right, so that one's okay. It's not great. Again, I don't think that amp model is there yet for them. I'll try to capture my own and see if I can get it a little bit closer, but that one, I'm not sold on that one. Let's do the Diesel VH4. We've got channel 3. I just had one of those in my possession not too long ago, so it should sound familiar. Yeah, kind of familiar. It definitely was not that gainy in person though, that's for sure. Get the presence up a little bit. Again, I'm not completely sold on this model. Kinda has that diesel voicing a little bit, like you can tell with the way the mids are. But the VH4 channel 3 is not a super high gain channel. That's not accurate to the real amp in my opinion, and also it's got more of a crunchy saturation. It's not super liquid. It's pretty close. It's not bad. It could be worse for sure. It's a nice approximation. It's not going to get you 100% of the way there no matter what, but they did a pretty decent job with that one. I just think the gain is overly done. The channel 3 on a VH4 does not have that much gain. Let's try one more amp and then we'll wrap it up. And I'm going to get to making a video of me capturing some of my amps and comparing the captures to the amps that I own and seeing how close we can get them. Last, let's try the Friedman BE100 lead. That one sounds good. That one sounds a lot like the Friedman. Again, a little bit more saturation. All of these amp models seem to have more saturation in the gain than the actual model itself does. So let's get some more mids. Let's get a bit more presence. That one's really close, actually. That one sounds the best for sure, by far. Let's turn on the C45 switch. Okay, so this model is a winner for sure. So as I've read online and as I'm finding out for myself, some of the models are great, some of them are not quite there. That's kind of what I'm experiencing right now as well. So it's gonna take some time to really get a lot of people in the Neural online community to get some great amp captures passed around and everything, and really get the amp models there. Kind of the same thing that happened with the Kempers. Overall, there are some great choices here. It is super easy and intuitive to dial in. There are some awesome features, and I really haven't even scratched the surface of what this thing can do because I'm still learning it myself. This is really the first chance I've gotten to sit down and kind of dig into it a little bit. And so far it sounds really good. I'm really excited to really get to know this thing more, see what it can do, capture some of my own amps and see how that comes out, some of my own pedals as well, and start getting some of my captures out into the community. Hopefully they come out good and you guys enjoy them and can find them usable. But anyways, yeah, this was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it shed some light on the Neural DSP Quad Cortex. There's a lot of questions floating around. Is it as good as the other modelers? I don't know. I can't compare it to the other ones because I haven't messed with those very much, but I can say that it is extremely user-friendly right off the bat. That's a huge plus for me, and I'm sure that once I really figure out, oh yeah, this whole time I've been dialing everything in on the touchscreen, these are turnable pots, the foot switches, so I could have been using those. So yeah, I'm an idiot. I'll be putting up a video of me capturing my first amp, which I think is gonna be the Dover DA50 because my man Jamie Slays keeps asking me to do that and I keep putting it off. So I'm gonna do that, send it to him, we'll hash it out back and forth, and then I'll put it up for you guys to check out yourselves if you have a Neural Quad Cortex unit, and you guys can tell me what you think of them. But anyways, thanks for checking this video out. I would really appreciate it. If you liked it, hit the like button on the way out. Consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss the next one. Kyle here again. We'll see you guys next time.